Welcome to another episode of Me, Myself, and I. Today's video is sponsored by youhadmeshirts.com. There you can upload any design you want or purchase one of our own designs. And from there, a shirt will be sent to you. Today's topic will be about love. But before we get into that, music. Now that I got your attention, let's talk about this word love. Before we do though, everything has an opposite side, right? Front, back, left, right, good, evil. And love has hate. And there is a thin line between love and hate. Not quoted from the song and not quoted from the movie. But definitely there is a thin line. The craziest part is we create those lines from religion, culture, country, even our sex jobs. This is what a man should do. This is what a woman should do. And the biggest one, race. These are the dividing lines that separate us. We say we love our country, we love our religion, we love our race, and we love our culture. But what we fail to realize is the opposite side of that is hatred. Because if you don't love any of those things that we love, we hate you. We destroy you. You know, I read Mein Kampf, Hitler's book. And his problem was fear of his race being taken over. And he got the same people to come under his belief with that same idea. Your race will be wiped out. It was that fear and that hatred that caused that to happen, which is the same problem we create and push, for others to feel the same way. Hatred, terrorist attacks and all over the world, or kicking certain African people out of certain areas. Man, we have no idea what love is. Zero. So let me share with you what I think love is. My opinion, my thought, and what I analyzed and saw. What is love? Now that we established what love is not and what hate is, let's explain love, at least from my point of view, right? Love is literally the combination of both selfish and selfless. Let that sink in for just a moment. Think about it. What is selfish? Selfish is when you do something for yourself, for the pleasure of you, right? Selfless is when you do something for the pleasure of somebody else, right? In a way, you do it and you're not looking for something in return, right? Both selfish and selfless is the combination of love, right? Yeah, you can love yourself because you're being both selfish and selfless, right? But at the same time, when you do more for somebody else and less for yourself, it doesn't matter if it's your family, your friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your lover, you are still showing less love to yourself. So you are not doing the complete love. In true love, you should be happy and the person that you're trying to make happy, or not trying, but the person that is happy, the other person should be happy too. All right. The best example or analogy I like to use is the dog without a leash. Right? When you're walking down the street with your dog, you have your dog on a leash, and that dog is pulling forward the whole time because you don't trust that that dog will stay near you. That's that selfish thinking. The selfless of that part would be to take the leash off the dog, right? And let that dog just walk next to you. The selfish is hoping that the dog will stay next to you. The selfless is trusting that the dog will, letting the dog be free. In a relationship, it's the same exact way. You have to not control the person to be the person you want them to be, right? You have to allow them to be themselves, because if you don't like who they are, then obviously you're forcing them to change for you, right? And then when they do sacrifice for you, or you sacrifice for them, who's happy? Obviously not you. The same applies for when a man provides more for the woman, right? And women in there, not all women, but a lot of women think that a man should provide everything, right? And the woman believes, not all, believes that they raising the children and having children is just enough. But that's what you're doing for the children. That has nothing to do with the husband. Nothing. Maybe he needs a little head every now and again. Maybe she needs a little going down on too. My point is, love is when you are giving, but you don't feel like you're taking away from yourself, right? It's like having 100% of yourself and still giving 100% to somebody else without subtracting from your 100. That's love. When you are both selfish and selfless. Like in sex. If you're on top, girl, he's happy because he still gets that pleasure, and you're on top with, getting your position because you're in more control, right? You're in the control of reaching your orgasm, climaxing. He's happy, you're happy. Happiness is when both parties are happy, and love is when both parties are happy, because if somebody has to suffer on your behalf of your happiness, that's not love. It's just selfishness. And when you sacrifice so much for somebody, you know damn well they ain't gonna appreciate what you do. That is selfless. And there are many cultures out there that believe that you should give up for the family. I didn't choose my family. I didn't choose them. They chose me, right? Well, my mama chose me. My mom chose to keep me. My dad chose to keep but chose to keep me. I didn't have a choice in that. And then children are taught that we owe our parents. For what? What do you owe them for? That breeds this hatred because it breeds control, right? Loving a person it's like when somebody asks me about, I will raise my children. I always say, it's better to create the path rather than pour the water first and build the path after, right? Because it helps to guide them. Don't control your children. Guide them. And when you do, they feel more free. In a relationship, the same should apply. Putting these unnecessary rules, it's unfair. It really is unfair when you put these unnecessary rules on a relationship. This is what you should do. This is what I demand of you. Nah. It's not the way it should be. It's not at all. Because love is truly understanding both parties. Going back to the book, The 5 Love Languages, I'm probably saying that wrong again, but it does talk about listening to the other party. You know, there was an example of a person that told me they don't like sex, and their husband cheated on them. So they don't like sex and their husband cheated on them. But then when you really look at it, if you don't like sex and your husband cheated on you, we're saying, whose fault is that? Right? And some people automatically go, well, it's her fault. Well, it's his fault for not, communicating with her. Well, it's her fault for not communicating with him. But let's take a look at that. If she would have said, I prefer it this way, or I like to be touched, licked, whatever, this way, and he complies, then she gets that good sex that she wants. Now, when he says the same thing, this is what I like, and she complies, he gets what he wants. But if she doesn't like sex, and he's tried, and it just doesn't seem right, then somebody else is going to like just the way he is, because not all of us fit exactly how it should be. So we should communicate, and that's kind of where love is. Love is the lack of communication. So you got to really communicate what is going on in a relationship, in a family relationship, in a marriage, or whatever it may be, even at your job. A lot of people do it for work, for the money, but they're unhappy. And what are you doing it for? So love, the opposite side of that is hate. And when these cultures and these religions and these races are killing for the opposite side of that, then there's a problem. You should look at yourself. Because today you might be mad at somebody for being racist to you, but 5 minutes later, you are going to treat them the same way. Remember that. Remember that when you think that you love something, because you don't. Because when you love something, there are no borders, no lines, no differences. Our complexions and our features may look different, our hair may be different, our lips, and so on and so forth. But that's all based on weather, the sun, the cold, the food, the forest, the not forest. All of that plays a part in the way we look. Not based on some stupid ass words we came up with to divide us. Because that is what hatred really is. We ain't never went to war over love. I'm gonna fight for love. Nobody has ever done that. No. So the next time you think about love, think about what you really are: selfish, selfless, or both. And obviously both parties have to be both in that. Just remember, the dog on the leash. Peace.